What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back to Thrash Reviews, where yours truly, Thrash Maniac 99, continues to review upcoming hard rock and heavy metal albums in the calendar year of 2016. And tonight, early morning on a Friday morning, 12:30 midnight time when I'm recording this, I am reviewing the new release, the comeback release for deathcore pioneers Despised Icon and their album Beast. Despised Icon is a pioneering deathcore band from the Quebec, Canada metal scene that formed in 2002, put out their debut in 2002, and then have made some influential albums to the deathcore genre, such as The Healing Process, and then eventually their last record that came out in 2009 called Day of Mourning. And then they took a little hiatus, and they got back together in 2014, and this is their new album called Beast. And this band has a lot of interesting styles within their music, including two different vocalists, one guy doing the kind of almost Tim Lambesis, Randy Bly kind of vocals, and the other guy doing the death growls and the pig squeals and the screams, which gives them an interesting dynamic. And as well as, if you go back to an album such as The Healing Process, it's more metalcore influenced than just about doing breakdowns. Like, deathcore is supposed to be the true head-on collision between death metal and metalcore. And Despised Icon was always one of those bands that tried to keep the traditional style of deathcore when it first got started in the early 2000s and keep it going. So let's find out what this pioneering band has in store. The opening track called The Aftermath, and right off the bat, you can tell Despised Icon went back to their roots of their first couple of albums, especially The Healing Process in 2005, where they bring in all their influences of death metal, metalcore, hardcore, grindcore, throw it all into a blender, and this is where it starts. With this track, you get a great blast beat in the beginning with some great technical trim picking on the guitars, and then you get to those breakdown moments. But here's the thing, like when with Despised Icon, they do the breakdowns in a way that's not boring. It's actually captivating in some way. From when I've listened to Despised Icon, they really know how to do the breakdowns just right for this genre. But this track was certainly a wake-up call for any old fan of Despised Icon that might have left the fold after The Healing Process. This is definitely a great sign for things to come on this album. The next track I want to talk about is called, I believe it's DRAPEAU Noir, some French, it's Quebec and it's a French part of Canada. And this was an absolute technical wizardry of a track that also had melodic elements. Like, they threw in some new tricks to the trade, new tools to the trade. They throw in, like, tech death influences from groups such as Suffocation or Decapitated, or even The Laws of Scourge by Sarcophago. Throw that in, as well as throwing in some influences of mellow death bands like Old In Flames, At the Gates, Star Tranquility, and they throw it all into this track with their deathcore style, with French lyrics, which I don't speak French, so I wouldn't be able to understand what was being sung, but it don't matter. This track was a phenomenon of a tune. It definitely shows that during that hiatus, Despised Icon definitely did some homework and learned some new things in order to create some different sounding songs within their own identity. The next track I want to touch base on is Time Bomb. And this is definitely when you get to the point where you definitely can see the traditional metalcore influence really being shown in the vocals, as well as the instrumentation and the breakdown idea. They definitely take influences from old metalcore bands such as Earth Crisis, Hatebreed, even some As I Lay Dying, Killswitch Engage, throw it into their sound in order to help create this subgenre of metal called deathcore. But it was well apparent on this track where you hear those metalcore-esque vocals from the second vocalist, Alex, who's known as Alex Grind, nickname. He's able to shine through on this track while the other vocalist, Steve, is showcasing his screamy, growly vocals, and of course the infamous pig squeal. Damn. But then the last track I want to talk about is the final track in the title track, Beast. This was actually the single from this album, and some people thought it was a little simplistic. I thought it actually worked. I thought it was a catchy tune. The pig squeals were very brutal on this track. The opening blast beat with the riff was very catchy and rhythmical to me personally, and it just concluded what was, in my opinion, an awesome album. Yes, it sounds controversial because most metal fans tend to not like deathcore because of certain reasons I'm not going to get into. That's going to be another video for another day, maybe. I don't know. But overall with this album, it seems like during that 7-year hiatus, studio album-wise, that Despised Icon took, after they split up in 2010, then came back together in 2014, it seemed like it really helped them learn a couple of things, and really brought in some new elements to their sound, like more tech death influence, more mellow death influence, as well as bringing back the old influences of traditional death metal, grindcore, metalcore, and tough guy hardcore. Throw it all together, and they created, in my opinion, probably one of the strongest albums of the year so far. This is actually a solid listen. If you're unsure about Despised Icon just based off the fact they're a pioneer of the deathcore genre, you might change your mind when you listen to this album. This album was phenomenal. I would give this album an 88 out of 100. I highly recommend it for all you guys. I definitely think that if you've not liked deathcore, I think you'll definitely like this album if you give it a shot. It might not appeal to you right away, though for me, because I respect and do like Despised Icon for what they've done, I was easily into this album. But this is definitely going to be a grower for some people, I'd say. And if anybody feels this album's poor, you don't know what you're talking about. That's my opinion. But anyways, 88 out of 100 for Beast by Despised Icon. Holy crap, it is awesome. But this is just one of 5 albums coming out today that I'm going to be checking out. I'll try to do another review at about 10, 11 in the morning for, I don't know which album yet. I mean, you got Revocation, Periphery, you've got, who else? Black Crown Initiate, Witherscape. It's going to be a lot to digest, but I'm going to try to get through those albums this weekend. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Peace.